Alright, Water of Lifers, I'm here to help you learn how to use Ableton Live. And this is just the way that we use it. You have to remember that this program has been built for DJs, musicians, whether it's jazz, whatever, funk, bebop, all of that stuff. So the program can do a whole lot, but I'm going to zero in on what we need. And I'm actually going to just build a set so that you can see how we do it. So here we go. We're going to open a recent set. Now the way that I run it is I've created a template file, and I'll send you the basics of the template file so you'll be able to understand. So right now all I did was just make a soul celebration template. Great. Of course this is corrupt, so I can't use that one. Alright, so we'll just use the Sunday file. Alright. And then for whatever reason that file's corrupt, I'm not going to worry about it now. And then we will go ahead and skip into this. Now this is actually going to be awesome. What it has to do is load everything in. Now this is what we did on a previous set. Now I'm going to explain why you can see things on the screen. I think that'll help. Alright, each one of these columns here is a track. And each one of these columns horizontally is a scene. So if you just remember that, a track holds instruments and a scene holds sections of a song or complete songs. For mostly how we run it, it's going to hold a complete song. Now, this in the master column, right here, this is where you can actually name your tracks, whether or not you use metronome or not. Now, a metronome won't click unless this is on up here. If you see over here, alright, and I just clicked it on and now it turned yellow. That needs to be on or the metronome won't click. Now, the way we do it is everything goes into the left as far as clicks or audio count-offs. Alright? And then everything else goes into the right. So all of our instruments, everything else goes off into the right. Now, this is actually, down here, is the mixing section on this screen. This is the session view. So you have the session view, which is the view that you'll use most of the time. And then if you're creating files, you see over here, you're going to click on this, and this is the arrangement view. Now the arrangement view will have files of whatever you're working on in the song. So this is the arrangement view. And this shows this is the same exact thing that are in the session tracks. Now, when you're building a song, there'll be nothing in the session tracks, and I'll show you that later. But right now, we're going to focus in on as if we're giving something to you. So, the first thing you want to do, as this is a template, as you see, a SoCell template, so you don't need to do anything. Let me do that, alright? So then we'll have to slide over and select and press shift, I bet. Yep. Alright, so if you press shift and click, then you can select everything. And we're going to actually just delete these. Alright, you can, yeah, it's just taking forever because it's a lot of info. So we deleted it. Now what I'm also going to do so that things won't get confusing is I'll just delete these as well. Okay. Let's try that one more time. I'm right clicking now and pressing delete, or you can press the delete key. What I like about this program is that everything, well, that didn't work either, did it? I think it's not going to let me do it that way. There we go. Now, what I like about this program is that everything, or almost everything important, has quick commands. So for Macs, which is what most of us use, and I'm just gonna but this program is great because it works in PC as well, and everything's pretty much the same except for command is control, but other than that it's the same. And the files are cross compatible, and I've used them in both things. So here, now let me explain the basics here. You've got your tempos. You can tap a tempo if you wish. It's not as fast as I would like, not completely as accurate because you're actually hitting a mouse, you know. But still, if you could touch the screen, that'd be better. So if you're really looking to get a tempo of a song, I would still use your phones or whatever because you're tapping the screen. You can bump things up faster or slower. This is your time signature, obviously. This is the metronome here, so that's important to know. If that's yellow, the metronome will sound. If it's not, the metronome will not sound. This is actually the follow for it. When you're in arrangement view, you want to make it, center in on the screen of where it's playing, and that's what this does. This is your current measure, beat, tick. Obviously, these are self-explanatory. Play, stop, record. Now, the over is important. This one here, because you can overwrite on a screen or overdub on top of something. When this is lit up, it's going to actually, it doesn't erase anything, but it goes over it and covers it. So you're not really overdubbing where you're going on top, which is kind of whack. You're actually covering it up. If you unclick that, then it'll just leave what you see as long as it was. And again, that's something I'll explain later as you're recording. Now this one is important because if you're not getting a sound on the session view, this actually needs to be lit up, and I'll show you how that works. If not, if you're going back to the arrangement view, this is the arrangement view, and you're not getting any sound, you just need to click on this. They're in parallel, but they're not. It's kind of weird. Again, this program's been made for DJs. So because it's been made for DJs, there's a lot of things that are weird about it. All right. This one is important too, especially when we start triggering different sections of songs. You want to leave it at 1 bar for the most part. And then you got to make sure that you're free for that last bar before. What happens is, it doesn't take a complete bar. It'll just trigger at 1 bar. I hope that makes sense to you. So when anything 1 bar or less, when you click to the next scene, it'll just finish up that bar and then go to the next scene. The same works for 2 bars, 4 bars, or 8. But again, that's a little bit weirder. So for our purposes, we'll either do 1 or 2 bars. But I recommend 1 bar. I used it successfully with Sherry and Tim. It works great. And they can give last-minute cues, and as long as it's within that last bar, I can still hit it. Or they can say this is the last time, and then I know within the last bar I'll hit it to the next scene. Again, most of the time you won't have to do that, but there will be some songs where we want to loop. For instance, with Tim and Sherry, she did the Lord's Prayer, and we looped. Okay, good. This is just a draw tool. This is like where you can make things loop. You probably won't need this at all, but in case you did, in case you're, this is the beginning of the loop point, and this is the end of the loop point. Again, measures, beats, ticks. Here we go, measures, beats, ticks. All right, this is so you can enter on the keyboard. You can make sounds with the computer keyboard. All right. And then these are just indicators and lights. It shows you if it's getting an input from an external key. You see there? And also if it's getting MIDI input, it'll show you that as well. This is your CPU usage meter. It tells you how much is being used up. And then this is your disk meter. If you're in a problem, if you have disk error, this will just turn red. So as you can see, I'm hitting the keyboard right now, and you can see that light up. And you see that meter jump around. It's not playing any sounds, but hey. Alright, now actually this is pretty cool. This is a setup. Now the other important thing you need to know, remember I showed you metronome. Your metronome is tied into your cue. You always want to set your cue to 1. 1 is the left channel, so your cue out right here needs to be set to 1, like this one is. Then your master out needs to be set to 1 and 2, which is left and right. And I'll tell you that in a minute why, but as you can see, this audio was set to the left that I had here. So this audio track was more likely than not a verbal cue, and that's what you want. Okay, so let's go back over here to the master section here. These are your outs. Now this will actually pan your cue, but since we've got the cue out to 1, it doesn't matter. And then this is actually the volume that goes to a headphone. Remember, this is for DJs, but so that's why they call it cue out, not metronome out. But the metronome will go, and they can also route something else to this cue point, like another turntable or something. And they want to hear it in their headphones to match it up before they actually play it and send it to the master. So that's what that's about. It's a DJ thing. All right, and this is your volume indicators, both left and right. And this is actually your volume knob, which is weird that they used arrows, but everything's arrows here. That's just how they used it. Okay, now inside of the track, just a quick overview. This is where the audios can come from, external in, and then you can actually see me talking because the audio channel is enabled, so it's actually showing me talking, bouncing around here. But nothing's set to record. It won't record unless you do that. So you probably heard me talk over myself with a delay because I'm recording this. So anyway, but that's it. All right, so you have this is your pan, left and right. This is the track enable. If it's off, that track will not sound. If it's on, okay, it sounds. This is how you can hear it. Auto is usually what you'll need. And then you can actually send the audio to your master or your cue. So you can do that as well. This is actually a solo, and then everything shuts down like this. You saw how that worked, and the yellow went out, and all I did was click on this. Alright, that solo is just that channel, and nothing else can be heard. Some programs allow you to do multiple soloing, or you can just hear whatever you've clicked on in the solo thing. There is no solo undo, which is weird, but so just be careful. I wouldn't use this solo at all because there's no solo undo. Usually there's like a toggle switch where you can click it and then everything pops back up again. This program does not have that. Now these windows that you see, they can all be adjusted and popped in and out. So these arrows here do that. So you can, if you want just to see the whole thing with a bunch of scenes, remember these are scenes going down, then all you have to do is click it and you can see that, and it takes away the bottom. These are where you can drop in effects or edits or whatever. So alright, that's basically the window. So the window is in 3 parts. This is your main window here. This is your project window where you can put in new instruments. You can get rid of it, which is what I just did. Remember, the arrows do that. Then you can actually add devices and play around with instruments. The easiest thing for me and what I do, and this is a trick before you get to it, I just go ahead and hit that, which is a search, and then I don't even have to look. You can put in pad, or you can put in keys, or you can put in piano, whatever you're looking for, and it'll get them all there for you. It's pretty cool, and it works very good. And it does it throughout instruments, MIDI, and audio effects. MIDI effects can only be applied to MIDI events, so then they'll show up here. Audio effects can only be applied to audio, but they can also be applied post-stream to the instruments that we play through, because they end up coming out as audio. So you can actually add reverb and stuff with audio effects to the internal instruments, which is awesome. Alright, now each of these are plugins. For our purposes, we won't use them as much as we can, or we'll create them and turn them into WAV files. And then these are just different ways. These are just your hard drive, and it'll show folders or the current project, and you can actually click this and change what it's showing. You can show the library or your desktop or all your volumes on your drive, whether or not you have a bunch of drives or not, or it can just take you home. So I like to leave it on the current project, and you'll see why. Now if you notice, all of these songs have numbers behind them. These numbers are actually the BPM. Brighter Day's weird because it was 84.84 BPM. It's kind of weird, but the rest of them are normal. It's a brother thing. I don't know why I couldn't just use 85. Bless his heart. And Fallen in Love is a song I wrote, but anyway, the bottom line is these are all the songs that I have. Now, we want to minimize the audio that we do, because just these songs right here with all their samples and everything else, this is 9 gigabytes. So obviously, using waves and that kind of stuff, you want to minimize that. I've been doing a combination of using waves or AIFF files So anyway, this is the project window or that. Now you can get rid of it if you're not adding to any sounds, but you're going to need this though to add to the set. So this is what we're going to do now. We're going to create a set, and I'm going to do this forthwith, herewith right now. Okay. I have the set for this weekend, and in front of me it has the songs and the tempos. So the first one doesn't have a track. I need to add a MIDI column, which is, remember, it's a track, so we've got to add a MIDI track. So all I did was right click in here and I added a MIDI track. Now we've got to create an event, a blank event, or else the metronome won't sound. So you just double click here and you see how it put a color there? Click, click, there you go. Now we can get rid of this initial audio event because it won't let you have to have at least one column. So now we can get rid of that. So now we just have this MIDI event. Now what you want to do is you want to click over here in the master side, and you can adjust this, slide it down. I like to have it a little bit bigger so I can see what I'm doing. And then you can press Control R, or you can right click and select rename. But you see there where you have that Command R. I'm sorry, Mac is Command. All right, you can also use that. All right, now the first song is Holding Nothing Back. All right, so you just type in Holding Nothing Back. Then you make a space. There has to be a space. And then you type in the beats. So he has it at 143, which is cool. Then you can put a space or not. It doesn't matter. And then put BPM. Oh, my mouse scrolled. Okay, we'll do it again. That's all right. Let me put this mouse down. All right, Holding Nothing Back. All right, 143 BPM. You don't need the space. As a matter of fact, I like to save room on my line. And then 4/4. So that's your time signature. You press return, and that gives you a metronome. I'll let you hear the metronome real quick so you know what's up. Okay, so here's the metronome. See, and you notice how the tempo over here jumped to 143. And you can see the metronome giving you a visual as well. All right, very cool. You can press the space bar to stop it, and or you can press the return or enter key to start it. So whatever's highlighted is going to play. Now there's nothing else, so it's not doing anything. Okay, it's not going. Now we're going to create. Now the next one isn't actually a track that I made. So the next one is God of Our Salvation in our set. So you see it right here, God of Our Salvation. You can see I put the 108. Now you see why. So I don't have to look up the tempo at all. And then notice how when I clicked and dragged, you can see where all the files are going to go. These devices are going to go. So I'm going to put it in the second scene and let go, and then bam. And what it did is it puts all of the audio things, and because I'm talking and this is going through a SoundFlower thing, you can see my audio bouncing around, but really it's not going to record anything because it's red. Alright, now as you can see now, you see where this highlighted? That means that we're going to get sound from the session and not from the arrangement view. We're in the session view, so that's why it does that. Alright, now what you want to do is, you got to do the same thing though, but we know what the beats per minute is because it says 108. Now if the song's in 6/8, you want to put 6/4, figure it out in 6/4, not 6/8. And I don't know, for whatever reason, Ableton doesn't handle 6/8 very well, or anything over 8. So just use 4 and it keeps it simple. Okay. No. So here we will press Control R. I will set this mouse down here. All right, and then I will type in the name of the song, which is God of Our Salvation, at 108 BPM and 4/4. Now, what happens is, when you play the first one, now watch over here in the corner here, and you'll see the tempo stay at 143 because that's the clicks. But when I click here,
intro 2 3
you see
go.
how it changed. And now this is the track.
Drums 2 3 go.
Now just quickly, if you look on the tracks, okay. this is the actual
Sync
audio from the
2,
song.
3,
So
go.
I included the MP3 just so you could see how it lays over the top, which is perfect.
Verse 1, 2,
That's
3,
the MP3.
go.
Now you see it's highlighted. Bam. Alright, so I'll turn it off. A little bit of fill with them. Alright. And then these are the backing track. So there you go. So I'm going to press the space bar and stop it. And then now we've got to add, let's see, the rest of the songs. So the rest of the songs have clicks. So I'm going to go through and add them. Alright, Control R, God is able. We don't have backing tracks, so this is just a metronome. And this is at 79 BPM 4/4. Okay. And then the next one. Alright, and you see how fast that is? All I did was press enter. It went down to the next thing. The yellow means it's highlighted. And then I press Control R. So you can do this real fast. I give myself away. I'll put it in. We probably won't do it. Now, what I do, Control R, go to the end. When they're that low, like below 90, I'll just go ahead and double them. So he's got it at 72, so we'll say 144, right? And then we can just change it back later if we need to. BPM 4/4. We probably will end up not doing this song only because we've got a shorter set. And then this one is 160 minus 2, so it's 179. So 160 minus 2, which would be 158. So then that'll kick out. Drummers usually like it. Yeah, once it dips below 90 beats per minute, you probably want to double it up so you get the eighth note clicks. And that's how you do it. You just math. Okay, and then the last two songs, let's see, One Thing Remains. Alright, and this is the same thing. It's 74. So we're going to double that, and that'll be 148 BPM. And then the last one is Desert Song. And I haven't even touched my mouse. Desert Song, I guess I can move the mouse though, it's kind of in the way. Alright, 110. And since that's over 90, we leave it there. BPM 4/4. Alright, so there you go. That's how you set it in. And now I'll show you by clicking on each one. So Holding Nothing Back's at 143. And then God of Our Salvation will be at 108.
Intro 2, 3, go. Drums 2, 3, go.
Alright. And then God is Able. That's 158 because we doubled it. And then I Give Myself Away is another slow song that we doubled, and now it's at 144. And you can check that over in the left corner. And One Thing Remains. Now that's at 148. Not a big difference. Okay, and then Desert Song will be 110. And that's how you do it. And it routes everything just to the left channel, as you can hear. And there you go. So enjoy building tracks and adding metronomes to it. This is kind of an introductory thing as well as a metronome thing. I may just do a short metronome one if you don't want to hear my lengthy introduction. Alright, be blessed.